BGGcon, customized hop tosses, and public transportation expansions. Join us for these topics and more today on the Passport Game Studios podcast, where adventure awaits. Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Passport Game Studios podcast. And today, we are in for a super special treat because we are live actually looking at each other face to face. That's riveting.
Yeah, you'll cut that out.
We're here recording live together at BGGcon. Usually we're all in our own separate home offices and stuff, connecting through Skype or what have you. But today we can actually see each other's face. And what's amazing is my co-host can also see how much I flail while I'm doing the podcast. So arms are just everywhere.
I'm going to have bruised limbs and everything by the end of this.
Let's not exaggerate, but let's go around the table.
We're not.
Let's go around the table and introduce ourselves. There's, of course, me, Chaz Marler, your host, and also the customer support and social media relations manager here at Passport. And over here to my left, Scott. Over here to my left is Scott Morris.
Yes, I'm now a pirate because one of my eyes has been knocked out by Chaz's flailing. Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Morris. I'm president of Passport Game Studios. I like long walks on the beach and sushi.
And joining us once again to Scott's left is Ryan Skinner.
Hello, this is Ryan. I'm the marketing manager here at Passport, and I like watching Scott walk on the beach and eating his leftover sushi.
Whatever works.
You guys have such synergy.
That's what makes us a good team.
Yeah.
But since we're here live all together, we actually have another member of the Passport team who's available and we drug in to join us. So we just cracked the shrink on Rob, who's going to be joining us.
Hey, I'm Rob Miracle. I'm the founder and the something. What do I do?
Last I heard, you're the product developer.
Hang on, I got it right here in my
business
pocket.
Card.
Let me read my business card. I am the senior director of business development at Passport Game Studios.
That means he gets games.
I like filming Chaz walking on the beach with Scott, and I don't eat sushi because I tried it the other night and it nearly killed me.
True fact, actually. That is not
True
exaggeration.
story.
Yes.
That's right. True story.
Almost a hospital trip.
Well, excellent. I'm so glad that you could join us because that means that's less talking I have to do. So let's talk about BGGcon.
That means our ratings will go through the roof.
I walked right into that door,
You did.
didn't
Softball.
I?
Total softball.
Thank you. Well, what's nice about BGGcon is, we go to a lot of conventions, and a lot of them are just hustle, 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 go, go, go. And BGGcon in November at the end of the year seems to be a complete reverse atmosphere. That sounds scary. They suck all the oxygen out of the convention center.
There's nothing. We just stand around in a room and look at each other.
It's a completely different, the opposite environment. Very relaxed, very laid back. It seems like, even the publishers and the media creators and stuff are just out there in the hall playing games with each other and everyone else just having a relaxed, good time. I guess when it comes to any publisher that's here at BGGcon or any convention, your social life with the gamers begins and ends really with the booth. So why don't we go around and talk about kind of what we've been playing and demoing in our booth, perhaps, and then kind of spread out from there to the other gaming experiences that we've had.
I would actually argue that it doesn't necessarily begin and end with the booth.
Yeah, I regretted saying that.
No, that's okay. Because you're actually right for most other shows, right? When people go to Gen Con and they are trying to fit 40,000 booths into a 9.5 hour day, you start and stop in your booth. But here it's much more of come and play games in our booth, go out into the main game hall, play there, come back into someone else's booth, go by our booth again. It's such a more casual experience. So the fun thing about it here is like with Hop, for example. We've been playing a lot of Hop, which is the new Funforge game we're coming out with shortly. It's been something that when people walk by the booth and they see us throwing the rings and catching the rings and laughing and having fun, they like it, they want to check it out, they get into it, and then they rent it out of the BGG library. And even yesterday, I was walking around and someone stopped me and said, "Hey, I got a question for you about the game." And
cool.
we're interacting with them out in the hallway and in the gamer hall and things like that. So this is actually one of the reasons I consider BGG to be my favorite convention of the year, is it is much more in touch with the gamer. And while most of us in our day-to-day life are publishers and doing things behind desks and Skype or whatnot, as you called it, which is a great program, you end up in a position now of being able to interact with people, get direct feedback from them, what they like, what they don't like, what they wish something did, and it actually extends much more beyond just the booth, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah, I've had very similar interactions here at the show, and similar in the past as well, but you'll meet with someone in the booth, they'll do a demo, they'll even just ask you about the game, you'll talk to them about it, and then later in the evening you see them in the gaming hall at 1 in the morning playing your game, and you walk by and, oh, hey, how's it going? You get to talk to them and engage with them again. At a show like Gen Con or even Origins and some of these other big shows, it's not going to happen. The sheer size of those shows means the odds of you running into the same people that you've run into in the booth and remembering them by person, or face-to-face rather, and what game they were talking about and all that is just not likely, whereas it's so much more intimate here at BGGcon, which is really, really fun.
That's true. Intimate, that was one of the words that I was going to use to ask if you thought BGGcon was actually more of an intimate environment for the gamers and stuff like that.
It's really a large version of a local show. So if you have a local show in your area, I have one in my town that gets, a few hundred people, really. And people just show up and they bring games and they rent games and they buy games and they just sit around and play them. And it feels very much like that, but it's with 2,000 people. So it's nice. You get a chance to play with people you'd never have a chance to play with and make some great friends. I've got friends that I met at BGG the first time I came here that I meet up with and play games with every time I come.
Yeah, and it's not just that it's only 2,000 people, or that it's 2,000 people that makes it so great, but it's the fact that, unlike a local convention, it's not just local vendors, too. I mean, you have all the AAA companies in the industry here at a really small, again, intimate show that lets the attendees really engage at that level that we've been talking about with not just us at Passport, but all the big companies, whether you're working with Asmodee or you're talking about anybody else out there. They've got people here that are ready to engage and talk to you and have that direct personal connection in the booth or after.
I mean, heck, we have an NFL superstar here this week pitching his game in a booth that people can just walk up and sit down and hang out and play a game from Chris Kluwe, the punter of the Minnesota Vikings. So
he actually developed a prototype and has it here at the show?
Yeah, it's a full-fledged game. It's Twilight of the Gods, I think is the name of it. Oh. And it's from Victory Point Games, and he's pitching it, and it's a friend of mine, Lance, the Undead Viking, is a huge Minnesota Vikings fan, and he almost lost his entire mind and turned around the corner and was like, "Ah!" Pretty amazing. So.
Yeah, he's a gamer for sure. He was on the tabletop episode that had Takedo in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one thing you mentioned, prototypes. At the really big convention like Gen Con, where 60,000 people are there, a lot of people will try to queue up and introduce their prototypes and connect with publishers. And do you find, Rob especially, do you find that there's still the access for people to meet with publishers and pitch prototypes and stuff, even at a smaller show like BGGcon?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the main reason why I come here. So I meet with a lot of different designers, and some guys only come to this show. So it's a chance to actually spend some time playing some games with those guys, where at some of the other shows the meetings are so tight, you've got them for like 20 to 30 minutes, and then you have to bring the next guy in. So it's cool. It's nice to have a more relaxed atmosphere and some space to play. At some of the bigger shows, the massive shows like Gen Con, it's hard for me to actually find a space if I haven't set one up in my booth to play the games with the designers.
I was going to say, Rob and I were at Essen, last month, which of course is in Essen, Germany.
hence the name. And we were there specifically as a business booth, and people were meeting with you and showing you games, and now we're here and they're showing you games, and that type of environment is much different than a Gen Con, especially when Gen Con and Origins are so crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been really interesting for me to see Rob's meetings here and how much more personal of a meeting they are with the designer than when we were at Essen and it was 50 meetings in 10 days or 3 days. It was just so busy. So,
and that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk next is just the interaction that we've had with the gamers. Like, for example, I was demoing Quartz to this trio of people who came by, and it was fun, and they really enjoyed it and everything. I'm going to check this out more, they said, and as they left, and they went off. And a couple hours later...
Did they yell at you from across the street?
They're one of the people that
That's
came
a
up
callback.
They wiggle their arms like Kermit the Frog.
Quartz, yeah!
Hey, that was good.
That's good radio right there.
Yeah, that's a great visual for radio. That's right.
Well, yeah, a few hours later, I was in the big hall playing something, and I look over to the table right next to me to my left, and there's that same trio playing their copy of Quartz that they got. And I was like, I helped contribute to that, and I'm right here to follow up with them and talk to them about it, and see what they like and everything, and even join in their game. And so that was a really special kind of connection there, that little circle that made.
Whether it's a big show or whether it's a small show, there's something really special about introducing someone to a game, having them make a connection with that game, and knowing that you've done something that's going to provide them happiness, even if they only play that game one more time in their life, that moment happened. And that's really cool.
That is a huge part of what makes working in this industry so amazing.
And working with you.
Well, I mean, jokes aside, like, that experience that you're offering through gaming is something unique to this industry, I think. It's hard to find that same type of longevity in entertainment or in any product that you are trying to sell in a marketplace that has that same type of output, that same type of experience for people that are going to take it home, they're going to enjoy it with their friends, they're going to take it to their family, and 20 years from now they can show it to their kids and be playing it with them or whatever, and like it just has such a huge impact and ripple effect potential on people and positivity and people just being happy and having a good time, which sounds super sappy, but it's true.
No.
Well, you're really connecting with another human being, and you're having a meaningful, fun experience, right? You're creating memories.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And even outside the demoing and anything, from my own experience, creating the media, the YouTube videos and everything else, when you go out there and you say, hey, here's something special I found that I really like, and you show it to someone else who didn't know about it, and they go, I like that too, and I never would have known about it if you hadn't shared it with me, and now I have something that I really like. It's a really special experience.
The pay it forward.
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys have any specific examples of things like that happened to you?
Yeah. So actually, just today, this is kind of a two-part thing. But first of all, I've been really happy to see a super positive reaction here at the show for Hop, which Scott talked about a little bit a bit ago. But the BGGcon in general, I think, has a reputation for being a little more alpha gamer, a little more heavy strategy gamers that are here, as opposed to family party games, which is definitely more where Hop categorizes. But people here have really responded well to it, and as we've said, we've seen that Scott had people approach him in the hall after hours, go, "Oh, we have questions about Hop," and they were really excited about it. That's really cool. So the other half of that is, in addition to seeing this great reaction firsthand there, people are talking about it elsewhere. We had a friend of ours from another publisher come running up to the booth this evening before the hall closed and said, guess what somebody just told me? They said that Hop was their favorite game of the show that they have seen and played all week so far. And I would love to have met that person and had heard it firsthand, but like someone cared enough to bring it up to someone else and not even just giving us lip service and saying, oh, we love your game, haha, or whatever, but to have them talk about it there, like that was super rewarding. That was super awesome to hear that. So, yeah, cool. Really cool.
Yeah, it's hard to get that type of one-on-one feedback at a really large convention lots of times. You get lost in the shuffle.
Right.
Rob, Scott, any other specific examples? All right. So, of course, you can't have that interaction in board gaming without the board games themselves. So let's just, real quick, I want to know what you guys have had the opportunity to play while you've been here. So for example, I got a chance to play for the very first time Concordia, which has been around for a while, but I've never had a chance to play it. The things that stood out to me about it were it's a really nice, tight design. Every single turn, you had your different options, and every option made sense for what you were going to do next, what you were building on, and the repercussions it would have, and why you were doing it. And you could make a plan, and your plans could change, but you had this plan, and you could go in that direction and see how it paid off. And next time, maybe you try a different plan. Concordia was the game of the convention so far. That's been the new one for me that I'd never played before, and I think the most pleasant surprise.
Cool.
What about you, Scott?
I played Monopoly for the first time. Ironically, Monopoly has come up in every day. There's been a conversation every day about something about Monopoly, which has been really funny. So it's a recurring theme for me. I played a game late last night that I fell in love with called Sagrada. It's a Kickstarter from Floodgate Games. Most people know Ben from Legacy Gears of Time. Or Vault Wars, it was recently done. And this is a game about dice drafting and dice placement. And I love those type of games, so I had backed it on Kickstarter, and he had his first pre-production copy here, which is absolutely a beautiful version of it, because it's all around using translucent dice to paint or make stained glass windows in the cathedral, which I think is just unique from a thematic standpoint.
Yeah, indeed.
Not many people go, oh, that reminds me of this other stained glass making game, right? It's not going to happen very much, right?
Cash in on that market.
Exactly. Right, it's the next Vikings. It'll be great. So, but yeah, it was a surprisingly good-looking game that also played extremely well. I was very happy with it.
I know you really enjoy it when you find a game that doesn't remind you of another game.
Yes, I like uniqueness.
It's rare.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I backed Sagrada as well. I absolutely cannot wait to get it. I watched you guys play it and was a little jealous, but I was busy playing other things.
What were those things?
Oh,
segue. That was some.
I've played a bunch of stuff here at the show, which has been awesome. There's a ton of stuff on the BGG hotness list, of course, but I have steered clear of that and used this show as an opportunity to play some older games that I have been behind on.
Like Monopoly.
Yeah, me and Scott, we tag teamed that Monopoly game. So I played, I'm like a year or two old, however long this is now, but I'm finally able to say I've played Broom Service, the Kennerspiel winner 2 years ago, I believe it was, or last year, was it? Whatever it was.
2 years ago.
Fantastic game. Really, really enjoyed it. I have enjoyed every game in that category that I have played to date, and that one did not disappoint. So that was really cool. In turn, I went and bought the Broom Service card game without even, just sight unseen. I was like, all right, I'm just going to give that a try. So maybe tonight I'll get that played. Played Trajan as well, which was great. An old classic that's in our line as well, which is awesome.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, you may have heard of that. Yeah, very, very good game. And I also played Vikingdoms, which is a little two-player abstract game that is an extension of an older game called Six Making, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And you have little pawns on a grid, and you are trying to make a stack of 6 to be able to raid and pillage little village tiles and add them to your kingdom, basically. And the first person to make the right sets or get enough points is, of course, the winner. With a just really unique, just absolute mind-melting system of stacking up these pieces. And every time a stack gets bigger, it changes how the stack moves, similar to chess pieces. So a single piece moves like a pawn, and then when you have them 2 tall, they move like a rook, and 3 moves like a knight, and so forth. Really, really crazy.
But the stack size is always changing as you play. And
right, because you can actually take only half of a stack of 3 or 4 or whatever, and then it splits it into 2 2s. So yeah, it's really, really crazy, and you're trying to get the stack of 6 with your color on top of the between the 2 people, which is really bonkers. Trying to do that, and then in 6 making, you just did it once, and if you got your stack with your color on top, you won. And now in Vikingdoms, you have to do it like 6 times.
Eek.
because every time you do it, you go raiding, and then you get some tiles, and then you come back and you do it some more, and then you go raiding again, and so it has a whole other half that it adds, which is really crazy, but it was very interesting. I'm not 100% convinced that I am in love with it yet, but I had a good time, I think, overall, when I played it, so I'll be hopefully playing that some more.
Because Viking chess.
Right.
Okay, that's not quite as smooth a segue over to Rob.
I don't know. Rob could be a Viking in another life. I'd buy that.
Fair enough.
I've played a lot of prototypes, which I can't really speak to very much, but I did get a chance to play a few other games. I played Trajan with Ryan. I played Adrenaline from Czech Games, which was very cool. It felt like kind of Doom mixed with Tron, so it felt very video gaming, where you res and de-res and everything, and then you pick up these massive guns and weapons and just blow each other up with them. So that was fun carnage.
Much better than tickling each other with them. I mean,
Yes.
There's
my machine
I'm
gun.
going to tickle you with a chainsaw. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. I played, I think it's called Dimensions from
Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Cosmos,
Yeah.
yes.
Which was fun. I mean, it's you've got these
Did
different...
Rob just say an abstract game is fun?
Oh, I love abstract
yeah,
games.
there you go.
So, you've got these different colored balls, and you've got a certain number of rules. 6 rules come up, and they're all different random cards that you draw. And it could be blue balls must always touch green balls, and orange balls must never touch white balls, and there can be no more than 6 black balls in the game. And so you build a pyramid out of them, and you try and do it before the timer runs out, which is like 30 seconds or something.
Also, it's part dexterity, too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
cool.
dexterity and speed, and it was fun. I liked it.
Cool.
And I also played Gad's Hill. Gad's
yeah,
Hill,
we all played that.
1874.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
very cool. It's the idea is you're trying to recreate a map of a ghost town, and you know where the cemetery and
The stables
yeah,
and
like
the
3
train station.
Yeah, 3 things that there was enough left of a footprint that you could tell where those were, and you're going through essentially like someone's diary or different writings or accounts of the time that said, I know that the stable was near the blacksmith, and I know that the dentist was on the west side of town. And by doing this, you're actually narrowing down where each of the buildings were. And it's basically a big logic puzzle. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one reminded me of like an Old West version of Salem, right? It was not the exact same system, of course. It was different, but
No, but it was
the
all logic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
It's by Klickerspiele.
Gad's Hill.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Actually, it was Gad's Hill
1874.
1874. Very cool.
Not 1876.
And is it? And going back real quick, just for a moment, to something else that you said, it's pronounced Cosmos. It's not Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Cosmos. Oh my god.
It's German.
Oh, I've been calling them
Auf
yellow
Deutsch.
for months.
You call him yellow.
All right, I thought it would be nice to wrap up the episode with a couple of questions for each of you. So I actually got a double whammy of questions. They should both be
42 blue Christopher Columbus. Anything else?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Make it easy all the time.
There you go.
All right, the first thing is about Hop, because that's one of the things that we've been demoing in the booth. And one of the premises of Hop is that you have these little rings, and they're little rainbows. So you have these rainbow rings because you play characters that are climbing up through the clouds to reach the top of the sky. And they do so by working together in little temporary teams. The active player will toss their rainbow ring to an opponent that they select. But it's not that simple. It's not a simple toss. Because before the active player tosses the rainbow ring, they have to draw a card, a challenge card, that will give them some crazy scenario, some wrinkle to mitigate how they toss this ring. Like they might have to toss it under their leg, or the person catching it might have to put their finger touching their head, or their head on the table, or stuff like that. And I've noticed over the course of the convention that we've each kind of been inventing our own new custom-made throw-catch technique for Hop. So the first question, I want to go around and have you share one of the custom Hop ring throw-catch techniques that you have developed. prompt.
Okay, sure, yeah. That to me, that's the most fun part about Hop, is that it gives you this construct of a game and how you play it, and you have the cards. But depending on your house and your layout, the convention you're at, the creativeness of the people around you, you can come up with your own stuff. For example, in my house, we have a balcony that looks down into the living room, and that has become the launching point. So, it's one thing when you're playing on the same story, but when you're playing on a different story, it's a whole different story. The one that I have probably had the most fun with here, I didn't invent this one, but I have had the most fun with it, is the Gunslinger. The gunslinger is the person who is catching the hoop, has to have their hand on their hip like a 6-shooter gun. The person throws the hoop, and then they have to quickly raise their hand, bang bang style, and grab it on their index finger as quick as possible. Sounds extremely simple. Nowhere near.
I don't think I've seen anyone land that one yet.
Rob landed it.
Did Rob do it?
Yeah,
All
Rob
right.
landed
I
it.
missed that. All right.
Rob is a professional skewerer.
He's seriously good. He and Norman are our volunteer here at the show.
They share a brain, so
They're,
it's...
they're,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good. They're a dynamic duo, a dream team of Hop,
Yep.
as it were.
How about
we
you?
s-
Oh, sorry.
We still couldn't pull off the Gemini, though.
No, yeah.
Why don't you share what the Gemini
what's
is?
the Gemini?
The Gemini is where the two of you lock fingers, so like index fingers together while you're standing near each other.
So you're having a sister.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and someone tosses it, and the two of you try and catch it on those two fingers joined as one.
Yeah, that's right.
To date, it's impossible.
That
right,
one looked
officially.
especially challenging.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to have one person driving the two.
Yeah,
or
that's
you
the
go in
best
two
way to
different
do it.
directions, then you're just done. It's over.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan?
I think the one that I came up with that I enjoy the most, that I've also seen maybe only happen once, is the Robin Hood, where the Scott's flexing like he's the only one that did it, I think. The hurler takes the rainbow ring, and instead of tossing it parallel to the floor, they're going to toss it vertically parallel to a wall, for example. And then the skewerer has to shoot an arrow or his finger through the traveling ring.
Just like he's showing you.
Just like I'm showing you. Yeah, if you can just watch.
Again, that's another great visual. For
So
everyone.
shooting your
right.
finger out from you as if it were an arrow.
Like you're
Yes.
poking someone.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yes.
poking
Like you're
someone,
poking-
but
poking it through
you've
the-
got to skewer the ring as it's coming by.
Yep.
Right.
So that one's been pretty entertaining. I personally have not even landed it, but that was one of the first ones I came up with when we started just getting wacky.
That
with it.
one's
So-
like above pro level. That one's like advanced pro level.
It's really hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be like legendary level.
We've got
also-
we've got the other one where we threw two at the same time.
The twins.
And the twins, and we hit two different skewerers.
Yeah.
in
And we
two
landed-
different spaces.
and we landed that one once,
Yeah,
too.
you and Norman
Crazy.
caught that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been some wacky stuff. We did the horseshoe, where we were tossing it to make it loop like a horseshoe and spin overhead instead of like a
I
ring.
think that one's actually in the thing, but it's not called a horseshoe. It's
Yeah, I
called
think it's
something
something
else.
else. Yeah.
It might be, yeah, actually.
Yeah, it
But
has to
that
flip
one's
end over
really
end.
tough. We talked about the William Tell. Is that what it was? Or-
Yeah.
putting your fist on somebody's head with a thumb up like an apple.
apple.
Yeah.
You got to land it on there.
I landed that one too
Yep. On Julia.
on Julia's head.
Yeah.
That's right. The
She wasn't even playing.
the El Toro. Right.
The one that I came up with, the only one I've come up with so far has been the Ripley, and it requires a button-down shirt. But you unbutton the middle button just right above your navel, and you have to take one arm and put it in through your shirt, and as the rainbow ring comes towards you, your arm has to burst forth out of the hole in your shirt, and you get extra points if you go as you do it.
That is by far my favorite. But
Yeah.
I
I
think it's
can
gonna
see
be
you ripping half the buttons off of your shirt, trying to do it a little
Worth
too
it.
emphatically.
Totally worth it.
Totally worth
If you
it.
land it, then it's totally worth it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's the most fun part about Hop is you're only really limited by your imagination, right? And that's a fun game.
Indeed. All right, gentlemen. So my second follow-up question for you to end the show with is I just wanted to come back to what we've done sometimes with games in the PGS catalog. Okay, we've talked about mashing up games or creating fictional expansions for games and such. So what I want you to do is we're just going to end the show because I want to know where we can go, literally, with some of our games. Here is your mission. You must pick a game, any game in the Passport Game Studios catalog, but you must somehow incorporate a city bus into it.
Like a city bus in the game, or playing it on a city bus?
Either how would you play it on a city bus, or how would you work a city bus as a mechanism into the game?
Sure.
I know exactly where you're going.
Do you?
I bet.
All right, go for it.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a couple ways, and I'm not going to go, I bet, where you think I'm going to go.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Takedo.
Not where I thought you were going.
You were thinking food chain.
I
Right?
was, yeah. That's where I thought you were going to
knew.
go. Yeah.
We're right here.
Yep.
So we're gonna do speed Takedo or modern Takedo, where instead of walking the whole journey of the Takedo, you're gonna hop on the bus, and so you have to move a certain number of spaces every turn. You can't take your time, and so it's a slightly less relaxing experience, and you only get maybe half the points for painting a picture because frankly you're only gonna see that that scenery for a fraction as much time.
Yeah.
It's blurry, yeah. But yeah, so there's your city bus. We're going to go through modern Japan and paint pictures and eat food.
And
make it a worse version. I'm pretty sure that is just a strictly worse version of Takedo.
It's Takedo.
Takedo.
Yeah,
I'm sure all of these will be worse versions.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
I'll incorporate a bus towards the end of Salem and have it be based on M. Night Shyamalan's movie The Village, where you find out that you're actually not in the 1600s and you're actually in modern day times, and that
You've just hung a bunch of doctors. And
that's the first thing I thought of.
It was it was like an era recreationist.
Yeah, and then you find out you didn't really hang them. Everything's okay. Everyone's happy.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a little less dark than I thought.
It's a little less dark. No, I wasn't going down that road.
Well, my version is quartz, but instead of being dwarves going into a mine, you're on a city bus and you're digging things out that fall down in between the seats.
I got a quarter.
I got a piece of gum.
I got a Twinkie.
Yeah, you get 2 pieces of gum and you're out. You're out for the day.
So it goes from quartz to gum wrappers. What would be the amber? Would it be a Twinkie? Would it be?
I think that's a quarter. You find something that's actually worth something. That's big.
Right.
There you go. What would you do, Chaz?
I think I would cop out and do Titan Race. And instead of riding these massive, imaginative titans, you just each be on a city bus, and the game takes 2 rounds.
Okay.
The ultimate filler, right there.
Nice.
So whether those games are worse versions of the games or not, gentlemen, I think they were still fair answers. So, little bus
fair.
Get out.
Thank you. He'll be here all week.
And, well, while I pick what's left of my dignity up off the floor, I want to thank everyone for listening and joining us for this episode of the podcast. And be sure to join us again in a couple of weeks. And I want to thank Rob for taking the time to join us.
Thanks for having me. It's been an experience.
I'll insert the incredible outro here, and we'll all say goodbye.
Thanks from down.
Bye.
Thank you all for joining us today, and we invite you to continue the discussion of the topics discussed on this episode over on our Facebook page at facebook.com/PassportGameStudios and on Twitter, where we're at Passport Games. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel over at youtube.com/PassportGameStudios, where we'll be posting some game overviews and playthroughs. But also be sure to join us again in 2 weeks for the next installment of this podcast, in which we'll be exploring another topic about board games and the board game industry. In the meantime, we welcome your comments and questions, and may even feature them on an upcoming episode. So contact us and let us know what's on your mind. Until then, take care, and remember that not only board games, but life too is a journey where adventure awaits.